I teach primarily humanities courses with also ethics and values. The humanities courses I teach is a 10-10, a general survey course. I teach a 2010, 2020 course, specific time periods, let's say from the Stone Age to Renaissance, or from Baroque to the recent past. You know, I'll be doing a 2020, that's called from Baroque to Baroque. So from the Baroque period that I've been really, really enjoying the Baroque period more than I ever thought. I always hated it, and so I've been really, I mean, it's so different than anything I thought was part of what I could even like, and as I've been learning more about it, I like it more and more. So I'll be teaching that into the present. I also teach upper level courses, 3,000, 4,000 courses. I'll be doing one, for instance, co-teaching. Well, I'm doing one now called Iconology, How Images Mean, that takes into the history of images in different cultures, archetypes, just where images come from, what is an image, things like that. And I'll be teaching another course in the fall on the self and the other. That takes into basically literature, psychology, anthropology, art, culture, psychology especially. So that's what I've done courses on the B generation that I'm hoping to do for 2012. Hopefully the world will end on December, of 2012, and I'm preparing by offering, a nice way to end the world with, a B generation course, in the fall of 2012. I find that, and I like the word inspire because I think that I teach for the same reason that I do poetry. I teach for the same reason that I want to learn. I teach for the same reason that I create images. I teach for the same reason that I dance. They all kind of spring from the same thing. Somebody once said, "What's that title mean? You have a title, artist, poet in residence." What does that mean? It means that what I teach is what I profess. What I profess is what I actually am totally involved in doing, and it involves the arts, and it involves thinking, and it involves trying to figure out what we're doing here. It involves confronting political situations, cultural situations. It involves all of that, and all of those things inform how I teach and what I teach. Films. Oh my God, I love film. Film. There was a time when I thought that you could get rid of every film that was ever made except The Seventh Seal by Bergman. And I keep watching that film over and over, and it still resonates. Although I've become a little more moderate, I wouldn't get rid of all the other films. The other day I saw for the 8th, 9th time Citizen Kane, for instance, and it dawns on me. I go, it may sound like a cliche, but this is one of the best films ever made. I go, my God, I forgot, because I hadn't seen it in about 3-4 years, and so I'm looking at it and I go, it may seem the obvious thing to say, maybe it isn't, but this is an incredible, everything about it is incredible. And so there's these films that continually kind of enrich me. I saw The Magician of Bergman. They just reissued it. I had an old VHS tape, that I had prized all these years, And so I think Fellini, Bergman, and of course, one of the greatest films ever made by Tarkovsky, Andrei Rublev. continues to kind of affect me, and I can't watch it enough times, you know. And you might as well add Pulp Fiction, which I think is a perfect film. And every time I see it, I said, I wish I hadn't seen this so that I could see it for the first time. You know, I just love that film, you know. And books, my God, I love books. You know, there's an incredible little book called The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley that I kind of always return to. You know, and I always never get tired of reading Garcia Lorca's poems. He was one of the very first poets that I discovered, and I keep discovering it, you know, almost 45 years later. You know, Garcia Lorca is just so wonderful, you know. And Ezra Pound, you know, that a lot of people may not like, you know, but it's not about liking, it's about gaining sustenance, you know, and being enlarged, you know. And so he continues to kind of just blow me away constantly. Here I am, I'm teaching a course now in iconology, and he was one of the guys that came to my rescue and blows my mind and teaches me what I got to teach. Incredible, you know, and all this from the grave, right? Through the medium of a book. It's magic, man. Black magic, voodoo, the resurrection of the dead. You know, I pick up a book and wow, anything could happen. You know, visions. And I mean, a book is an incredible vehicle. You know, and Artaud, he scares the crap out of me all the time. You know, he just totally terrifies me and keeps me enthusiastic. You know, so in a nutshell, you know, those are the books and films.